Hey, what's going on YouTube? First off, I want to apologize for being less active recently. The reason being is that I have exams, so I'm quite busy with those. But I still wanted to give you guys a good game. I played a couple of days ago. So this game I played off stream. That's why I'm just going to be casting it. I still wanted to bring it to you guys because it was quite a nice game. So for this game, I'm going to be Cumans, and my opponent is Italians on the map Continental. Now the reason I got Cumans was because I just went for a random civ, and my opponent picked because Italians is a really solid civ on this map. You have the water on the outside, and they have the cheaper uptime, so they are quite good on this map. So starting off, quite a standard opening, 5 on wood. I was pushing in all of my deer because I wanted to get a good uptime. So my plan for this game was to go for water and in Futilage go for a second TC to have a Futilage boom and try to defend on water. So as you can see, both of us are going on to the water. We're taking shorefish with our villager because that's really important. Right when I thought I had enough food to click up, I just sent some more villagers onto wood because I wanted to have enough wood to get my XRTC and also get a couple of fire ships out. As you can see, I went with 3 villagers on gold. That's just to produce fire ships. Also made a 5th ship. Oh, and I missed it. I missed this over here. So there was a snow leopard over here. He was building the dock. I hit his villager with my scout, so he was chasing me, and then he got attacked by the snow leopard, and then I just used my scout to hit and block, and then to get rid of the snow leopard, I killed his villager. So I basically have 1 kill, he has 1 death. I kept my scout around this area just to try and pick off any new villagers that try to build this dock. So for now, I'm just making a house and another TC on those berries. And because I pushed in all of my deer in a Dark Age, I'm still having 4 sheep which I can take. And I also have the berries which are quite close to this TC. So I still have enough food. Right here, I was able to kill his scout, despite my scout having 39 HP from the start of the engagement. Now the reason why I was able to win it is because my scout is slightly faster, so it was easier for me to micro up on this hill. Obviously my scout is way too low to try and kill any villagers here, so I just went away and tried to scout a little bit more of my map and his map. I did see that he had a barracks, so I was assuming he would go for archers / crossbows, so that's why I've made my own barracks. Also made a gate here. Remember, Cumans, they have plus 50% HP on their wooden walls, such as palisades and gates. Now this part of the game is quite standard. My opponent was able to click up at a really solid time because he is Italian and he also had quite a lot of fishing ships. This was a good move by him. He made a new dock here on the big open water. I still had my fishing ships working, so I was fine on that part. As you can see, my resources, I have 21 on food, so I should be able to go up to the next stage. This TC was slightly idle for a bit. If you look at the villager count, I'm roughly 10 villagers ahead. He is going up to the next stage though, so not that big enough of an advantage. But if you look at the farm count, I'm already on 11 farms while he's only on 1. Right now I was still using my scout because I was quite fearful that he would go forward with crossbows. But in the end he only made 1 archer, so I was fine on that regard. I was making my stable and blacksmith soon after, and then I could go up to the next stage. As you can see, he was up before I could click up, but The only real danger for me at this point is if he comes forward on land and does a lot of damage, but he opted to go for upgrades on his docks. Because he's Italian, he has 50% cheaper dock upgrades. I kinda knew I would lose water, so I just tried to stall him out as long as possible. I mean, I didn't have any good fish on my part, and if I wanted to have good fish, I would have to move all the way over here. But that would mean I would have to invest a lot in water, and that wasn't worth it in my opinion, so I kinda just gave up on water. On the other side, my opponent, he went for 3 TC, 1 on the stone, 1 on the gold, and well, that's his starting TC. If you look at his resources, he's really trying to get a castle out to be safe. He's Italian, so he can get Genoese crossbows, which do really great against cavalry. On my side, I was like, okay, I will make 2 stables and just do damage because my eco, I have a really strong eco. I had 19 farmers already, while my opponent only on 2. He did have some fishing ships, but I don't think he's gonna have... well, he had 15 on wood, on food. I guess he just has barely enough to keep producing. So here my opponent had quite a lot of fire ships. I did make a demo here, so I'm gonna get quite a good shot, I believe. Yeah, that did damage to 3 ships. This demo was also quite clutch. But yeah, I already lost most of my fishing ships, I only have 1 alive. And my opponent is making more on water, so I was not bothering with that one. I wanted to go forward to make a sea workshop here, but he still had his archer. Luckily, I had my scout with armor. And yeah, I just killed his villager. My opponent also wanted to make a castle here, but he didn't have any army to support him, so he knew he had to go back because I was sending 2 knights each. Now I did go for all of my eco upgrades. I went for gold shaft mining, I also did my farm upgrade, and I went for double bit axe. Also going for the 30C. Look at vill count, it's exactly even now. Remember, he still has fishing ships, so if we look at the villager count, I'm slightly ahead of him on that part. My opponent, he made the castle. All he has to do is just stay behind his walls, because he can go up to imp faster, but I wouldn't. That's bad for me, so I just made a couple of knights to raid him, and this is the most important part. I'm going for capped rams. Humans have capped rams in Castle Age, and once I saw that my opponent was making a castle, I knew that he probably wouldn't have any strong melee units to deal with my capped rams. Because if you look at what he's going for monks. Those can convert knights, alright. That can be a melee unit he has, but for the most part, he is going for Genoese crossbows, which do really terrible against rams or even mangonels, because they only have well, they have 8 damage with Bodkin, but my plan was just to go for a couple of capped rams and then try to overrun his base. On my side though, I saw that my opponent was going for war galleys, so I wanted to have as much stone as possible, because I know that if he sits his units here, he can deny quite a few resources. I think even with Bodkin, he can reach this. In the middle, I'm just making more and more capped rams. I had 2 knights alive, but I was not going to be able to do that much damage, because he had Genoese crossbows around. My opponent is even going for a second castle. His resources are at the limit, but he's dropping down a lot of farms, so he should be able to go into the Imperial Age in a couple of minutes. Knowing that, I was like, okay, now it's time for me to push. I created a couple more knights just to have a bit of a buffer for my cap rams, because if I don't send in any army, he can take them down with villagers. Still, it will take him quite some time, but you need some army to support. And even though he had Genoese crossbows, it's still worth it to have knights behind it. It's not like they melt my knights. And that's just the power of cap rams. Bam, I'm already in his base. I have 7 cap rams, so his castle is just going to fall in a couple of seconds. He's sending in villagers because, like I said, he has no melee military units. He even sent in his monks, which I sniped, both of them for free. And yeah, his castle is already down. I'm killing so many villagers. Probably should have gotten the +1 attack. He has about 5 Genoese crossbows, but that's not going to cut it. And he resigned. He resigned just because he had nothing to deal with this. Let's say he had like 15 Genoese crossbows, then I would have still had the power with my rams to kill both of his town centers and just do so much damage that it would have still been worth it. Because if we look at it, eco-wise, I'm 2 villagers ahead, and he's having to pull around 20 villagers to deal with this. So he would still lose, let's say, like 10 villagers, and that would mean that I have quite a big advantage. And then I would also know, okay, now I can just go up to Imperial Age, maybe make a castle here, and then go for the trap war. So either way, the game was won for me. I recognized that investing in water was not worth it, so going for a land push would win me the game, and that's exactly what happened. Look at statistics, military, not that much big of a difference, but this is a really important one. Food count, 3,000 more for me. That's just because I started farming so much earlier than him. Wood count, also 2k. He had more stone, which was obvious due to the 2 castles, and also slightly higher gold count for me. These are the uptimes. He was faster because he was Italians, and I also went for the second TC, so it's logical for me to be up later. Villager count, he even had slightly higher at one point, but I did quite some damage, so in the end I had 84 and he had 82. Right, hope you enjoyed. That's going to be it for me, guys. Bye bye.